and said, "Mom and Dad promised I could live with you. After all, you should at least do something useful for this family." Forks clattered. My parents nodded approvingly, like this was some noble arrangement. My chest tightened, but I didn't flinch. I sipped my water slowly, set the glass down, and smiled. "That's awkward," I replied, my voice calm, "because I sold the house last Friday to a couple." The silence was instant and absolute. "My name is Danielle Cross. I'm 31 years old. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. What happens when a family that's used you like a doormat suddenly finds the ground ripped out from under them?" My brother's face twisted, the smugness melting into confusion. You sold it? Without telling us?" Mom's eyes narrowed. "Danielle, stop joking. This is your family. We make decisions together." I almost laughed. Together? When had any decision in this family ever included me? For years, I'd been the invisible one, the one they mocked, the one they overlooked, the one who worked 2 jobs just to buy that house they now treated like community property. Dad's voice rumbled across the table. "Be reasonable. Your brother needs a place. You have more than enough space." I met his gaze steadily. "Correction. I had space. Now it belongs to someone else." Papers signed. Keys handed over. My brother slammed his fist on the table. "You can't do this." But I already had. The house they thought they were entitled to no longer existed for them. And in that single revelation, the balance of power shifted. The table erupted all at once. "You're lying," my brother shouted, his face red, eyes bulging with panic. "You wouldn't dare sell it. That house was basically ours." Mom's voice followed, sharp and shrill. "Danielle, enough of this nonsense. You can't just get rid of family property behind our backs." I leaned back in my chair, folded my hands, and spoke evenly. It wasn't family property. It was mine. Every mortgage payment, every repair, every sleepless night worrying if I could cover the bills. That was me. Not you. Not him. Me. Dad slammed his fork down. "Selfish. You've always been selfish. Do you know how humiliating this is for your brother? He told all his friends he'd be moving in." I raised an eyebrow. That sounds like his mistake, not mine. For years, they had dismissed me as unimportant, the one who should stay quiet, serve, and sacrifice. Now they looked at me like a stranger who had slipped the leash. "You'll fix this," Mom hissed, jabbing her finger across the table. "Call those buyers back and tell them it's a mistake." I let the silence stretch before answering. "No. The sale is final. The couple is moving in next week. And here's the best part." I pulled a folded sheet from my bag and laid it flat on the table. "The down payment cleared this morning." My brother grabbed the paper, scanning the numbers, his jaw dropping. The reality hit him like a slap. The house he thought was his inheritance, his entitlement, was gone. "This isn't fair," he whispered, his voice cracking. I took a slow sip of water and smiled. Neither was 15 years of treating me like the family maid. Consider us even. My brother's hands shook as he shoved the paper back across the table. "You can't just throw us out like this. That house was supposed to be for me. Mom and Dad promised." "Promised what they couldn't deliver," I replied coolly. "They didn't buy that house. They didn't keep it from foreclosure when I was drowning in debt. They didn't work weekends and holidays to make sure the roof didn't collapse. I did. So no, they had nothing to promise." Dad leaned forward, his tone low and threatening. "Danielle, listen to me. You're part of this family whether you like it or not. You will undo this sale, or we'll make sure you regret it." I tilted my head. "Undo it? And how exactly do you plan on forcing me? You can't threaten buyers with your temper. You can't rewrite contracts. The law doesn't care about your promises. It cares about paperwork. And that paperwork is in my name." Mom's lips trembled with rage. "You're humiliating us. Do you understand how this looks to everyone? Your sister the queen, your brother ready to settle, and you, acting like a selfish little traitor." I almost laughed. "You've humiliated me for years, Mom. Whispering at dinners, calling me the cook, telling relatives I was the one who never measured up. But guess what? I measured up enough to sell a house you all thought you owned. My brother's voice cracked, desperate now. So, what? You're just gonna leave us homeless? I leaned across the table, my voice soft but sharp. You're not homeless. You have your own house, your own life. This was never yours. The only difference now is I stopped letting you pretend it was. The dining room felt smaller, the walls pressing in as the weight of my words sank into them. My brother fidgeted with his napkin, shredding it into tiny pieces. Mom clutched her wine glass, so tightly I thought it might shatter. Dad's jaw worked like he was grinding stone. Finally, Mom broke the silence. You think you're clever? Selling behind our backs? You've ruined everything. Do you know what people will say when they find out you betrayed your own blood? I met her glare. People will say I finally grew a spine. And if they ask why, I'll tell them the truth. About how my family treated me like staff at every holiday, how my sister was the golden one, how my brother was handed everything while I scraped by alone. My brother snapped. Lies. You're twisting everything. Mom and Dad always supported you. I laughed, sharp and humorless. Supported me? You mean mocking me for being single? Using me as free childcare? Demanding I cook while you all sat at the table pretending I didn't exist? That's not support. That's exploitation. Dad slammed his hand on the table, rattling the dishes. Enough. You will respect this family. I leaned forward, my voice low and steady. Respect is earned, Dad. And you lost mine years ago. I stood, gathering my things. The house is gone. The sale is legal. And when that couple moves in next week, you'll finally understand what it feels like to lose something you thought you controlled. My brother's voice cracked as he shouted after me, You'll regret this, Danielle. But as I walked out the door, the cool night air hit my face, and I smiled. For the first time, it wasn't me drowning in regret. The fallout hit faster than I expected. By the end of the week, my phone buzzed with messages from relatives. What happened to dinner? Your parents look devastated. Another cousin whispered, Your brother's been telling everyone you cheated him out of his future. I didn't bother correcting them. I knew the truth would surface soon enough. Meanwhile, Mom left me a voicemail every morning. Her voice bounced between fury and desperation. Call the buyers back. This is your chance to fix things. The next day, do you realize how this makes us look? Your sister is mortified. But the last message chilled me most. Dad's voice, low and venomous. If you think you can cut us out, you're mistaken. We'll take what we're owed. Owed. That single word made me laugh out loud in my kitchen. For years, I'd owed them everything. My time, my labor, my silence. But now, I owed them nothing. What they didn't know was that the sale of the house wasn't just about escape. It was about strategy. The profits weren't sitting idle in a bank account. I had already signed paperwork transferring the money into a property 2 states away. A small cottage by the sea. Mine alone. Out of their reach. That Friday, my sister called, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Congratulations, Danielle. You've destroyed this family. Was it worth it? I smiled into the receiver. Every penny. I hung up before she could answer, staring at the deed resting on my desk. Their claws couldn't touch me anymore. The house was gone, the money protected, my freedom sealed. For the first time, I felt untouchable. The following week, they showed up unannounced. I spotted them through the window. Mom's stiff posture, Dad's clenched jaw, my brother pacing like a caged animal. I didn't open the door. I let them pound, let them shout, let the neighbors peek through blinds as the perfect family unraveled on my porch. Finally, Dad's voice thundered. Danielle, open this door before we drag you to court. That house was family property. I laughed loud enough for them to hear. Go ahead, march into court, and tell the judge you're mad I sold my house. See how far that gets you. Mom's voice cracked. You don't understand what you're doing to us. Everyone is talking. Your brother's reputation ruined. Do you really want that on your conscience? I opened the window just enough to meet their eyes. You want to talk about conscience? For 15 years, you treated me like the servant at your table. You paraded my sister as the queen, handed my brother everything he wanted, and called me useless unless I was serving you. Now, you want me to carry your shame too? Not anymore. My brother lunged toward the window, his face flushed. You'll regret this, Danielle. You can't cut us out forever. I tilted my head, calm. Watch me. Then I slid the window shut, drew the curtains, and let their pounding fade into nothing. Minutes later, their car screeched away, leaving skid marks on the street. I sat back on the couch, heart pounding, not with fear, but with triumph. They were desperate, powerless. And for once, I was the one holding the keys. The collapse came slowly at first, like hairline cracks in glass. Then all at once, by summer, word had spread. My parents' friends whispered about the family feud. My brother's coworkers snickered behind his back, joking about how he'd bragged of moving into a house that wasn't his. My sister's carefully curated image as the perfect daughter wilted under the glare of relatives who now knew the truth. And I hadn't leaked a single thing. I didn't need to. Their arrogance had done the work for me. One evening, an aunt called. Danielle, I used to think you were cold. But now I see. They took advantage of you. We all did. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. Her words didn't erase the years, but they felt like oxygen in a room I'd been suffocating in for too long. Meanwhile, Mom left another message, different this time. Claire. She stopped herself, then corrected. Danielle, we need to talk. This has gone too far. Please. Too far? I thought. No, this was exactly far enough. That week, I posted a single photo on social media. Me standing in front of my seaside cottage, deed folder in hand, caption simply, finally home. The likes rolled in, but what mattered more were the private messages. Cousins cheering me on. Old friends saying they were proud. Even distant relatives admitting they'd always known my family favored my siblings. For the first time, the narrative wasn't theirs, it was mine. And as their empire of appearances crumbled, I felt lighter, stronger, free. They wanted to control me with shame. Instead, they ended up choking on their own. Thanksgiving rolled around again, and for the first time in 15 years, I didn't dread the holiday. My seaside cottage smelled of roasted garlic and rosemary, the table set for friends who had become my chosen family. Laughter floated through the rooms, warm and genuine, no mocking undertones, no invisible chains. Meanwhile, miles away, my parents hosted their own dinner, or tried to. Relatives whispered about the missing turkey, the awkward silences, the strained smiles. My brother sat sulking, my sister glaring at plates that looked emptier, without me in the kitchen. Their perfect image had cracked beyond repair. That night, my phone buzzed with one last message from Mom. We never realized how much we needed you until you left. Please come back. I stared at the words for a long time. Then I pressed delete, because the truth was I hadn't left. I had finally arrived at a life where I wasn't the servant, the scapegoat, or the shadow. I was the architect of my own peace. As my friends raised their glasses around me, I smiled, my chest light for the first time in years. To freedom, I said softly. Glasses clinked. The fire crackled. The ocean whispered through the windows. And I realized the sweetest revenge wasn't the house I sold, the money I gained, or the shame they now carried. It was silence. My silence. A silence they could never fill again. They had mocked me for being just useful. Now, they were the ones left useless, powerless in the absence of the daughter they had underestimated. Just